Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Daily 3.
Where we write it down and make it happen.
And then take a nap.
And take a good nap.
I've started adding that as part of our tagline.
Have you? Write it down, make it happen, take a nap. I like that actually. Because it's the write it down, the intention of planning it, making it happen, actually doing it, following through, executing, and taking a nap. Or recognizing that
giving it over to the Lord.
Yeah, rest is a part of this.
I listened to ours this morning.
Yeah.
It was good because I realized the things that we talked about I had not been doing of at the end of the day, just giving things over to the Lord.
Yeah.
And casting all my anxieties on him. And because I woke up with, I think, all of my cares and anxiety from the day before and just not ending my work, but just continuing to carry it on, hoping that I could do more last night.
Yeah.
So it was so good actually for me to listen. So as you know, it was just a little prayer this morning. And
yeah, it's like past David was encouraging and helping present David.
I think it was past Mike, but
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, past Mike.
Yeah, I think past David was still having the same problems as present David, and probably as future David.
Yeah.
So
that's good. I've noticed that, and I believe we've talked about that in an episode already. Of sometimes so much.
Episode 9. That's the one I'm talking about, folks. Go listen to episode 9.
So much of this is just being reminded of what we already know. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily learning new things, but just being reminded of things we already know and bringing that to the forefront of our mind and actually allowing that to impact and affect how we're living and thinking and our postures and attitudes. So.
Absolutely. Sorry, I got distracted there.
That's all right. What were your dailies from yesterday? How'd they go?
Daily 3 from yesterday, I forgot. They were to work on typography for the website. Mm-hmm. It was to work on the gospel commentary. I did not do that. I worked on typography. I did that. Mm-hmm. And then the third one was I completely forgot.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I completely got it done.
Oh, maybe I did. I had a doctor's appointment. Was that it?
Yes, you did.
And I did that. I went there.
Good job, man.
Thanks.
You did some stuff and you failed at some stuff.
I did. Yeah, it's about a good average day's work right there.
Solid. Did you finish typography? I remember talking to you at a point yesterday and you're like, I think I'm going to be done with it today.
Yeah, no, that's why I was kind of frustrated.
Gotcha.
Because I was working and then I realized when I went to my appointment later in the afternoon, 3:30, and I tried to plan my doctor's appointment during my trough period.
Nice. That's smart.
And so that's when I'm in the doctor's appointment, they're like, when would you like to schedule? Part of me was thinking, at first I said, in the morning. And then I thought, no, actually afternoon again. So I scheduled it for 3:30 again. Mm-hmm. But then I realized then I got back and I got back probably around 4:30 and so I don't know. And so then I was focused. I forget. I think something else got my attention so I lost it. I lost it. And so then I was like, I'm not going to finish it. Dang it.
It slipped through my fingers.
And so then I tried to work on it later that night.
Yeah.
But then I was just too tired.
To really be effective at it.
10:30 to 11:30 is not the most effective time for David.
That's good to know. That's good to know about yourself.
So,
yeah.
What about you? How'd your daily 3 go yesterday? What'd you do?
They went impressively well.
Bam.
Yeah.
Impressively well.
So the first one was video planning. So plan videos and make a shot list. I did that. And then the second one was to finish under the stairs and get ready for drywall. I did that. And not only did I finish both of those, but I also shot a video. One of the videos that I planned.
Dude.
And I've got maybe I reviewed the footage this morning. I've got maybe 2 more things I need to go shoot. And then the other one was to finish a web quote for rebuilding a website. Mm-hmm. Did that.
Nice.
So I got all 3 of them done.
Well done.
I was very surprised.
And you picked up some extra work yesterday too.
Yeah, which we'll talk about that for today's Daily 3. But,
all right.
Well, one of the things I learned yesterday
I was going to ask that.
So with video planning, even though I got it done, I don't think I was specific enough because I planned out one video and then started a couple more. And so it's I should have been more specific in exactly how many plans do I want to get down and then scheduled when I'm going to shoot them kind of thing. So that was something good that was Like, because I realized, okay, I've done enough that I can cross this off my list, but it's going to be on my list tomorrow because it still feels undone because I wasn't specific enough. So that was like
For what one was that?
a good thing to learn. That was for video planning. So plan videos, make a shot list.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Did you just see that I just got completely distracted?
Yeah, something happened there.
Yeah, that's. Can you see when that happens? Like, I just get lost in my own head.
Yeah.
And like, I was not listening at all. And then I was like, oop.
I'm back.
Yep.
And we're back on the Daily 3.
This has been a departure into David's brain. And we're back.
Please keep your arms.
I'm sorry about that.
Inside the ride at all times.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try to do better.
That's right, man. I forgive you.
Thanks.
Today's Daily 3. For that, I have review materials for a bid and place orders. So I, a long time ago, did a drywall bid.
Yep.
That I didn't want.
Yep.
I really didn't want it.
I love this. This is.
So I overbid it. One of the things we've talked about when like doing estimates or whatever is fear plus 10%. So like
fear plus 10%.
Yeah. What number are you going to give them that makes you a little bit afraid?
I do that with the donations too.
Yeah. When support raising.
It's like, what number am I afraid to ask for?
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Do that plus 10%.
Right. Because I always go, I mean, and I actually like list out everything, line item, calculate materials. So I know everything. And I'm just like, nah. I usually get towards the end and then I'm like, I'm already 8 hours into this bid. I can't spend this much time on it. So then I just kind of fudge the last bit. I'm like, this will probably be about 200. This will be that. And then you get to your number and I'm like, okay, fear plus 10%. So I had that number I was afraid of. Then I added 10%. And then I forget who I was talking. It might have been, I think it was when you first moved in. Was when I was doing this.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you want it? No.
And then like just before I sent it, maybe like 4 minutes before I sent it, I was like, I'm going to add another $1,000 because I really just don't. I have other things.
You should have added $10,000.
Yeah. So I ended up getting it, completely forgot about it. So yesterday I was like, oh crap, I got to go back through all my stuff and figure out what the heck I was thinking for this and all that. So but yeah, basically today I'm going to go over there, take a couple more measurements, make sure I got my materials list right. And then I've got to start on Saturday.
Wow.
So I kind of realized
it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. But I also realized like it's work for a bank, which I'm not super excited about.
You're working for Josh now.
Yeah, pretty much.
He works for a bank.
I don't think it's Wells actually. The bank that owned has this property, but
we're going to probably scratch that, but I don't think Josh has ever said who he works for.
Okay. So what was it good? Yeah, just like the level of quality that they want and expect isn't high. It's very low. And so it's just like one of those things from that standpoint. I'm not super excited to do it because it's just like, I don't.
Are you able to do that with a clear conscience then? Like work to the level of quality that they expect?
No, I'm going to exceed their expectations.
Are you going to meet yours?
No.
Do you ever meet your expectations?
Yeah, but it's going to be like this weird, right? Like if their expectations are here, this is what's going to happen. Mine are here. I'm going to probably get like right there.
I mean, like, can you like do that with a clear conscience? Lay your head on a pillow and be like, I did the work. Like, is there a category for that in your head where you're just like,
I think
it's not 100%, but it's 80%, and that's still, and you still got it done. It's not like there's sheets of drywall missing.
Yeah. I think reluctantly.
Yeah.
Like it is definitely not my preference to work down to that.
Do you feel like you're sinning when you're doing that?
Maybe.
I think of like James when he says like, and those who know the right thing to do and do not do it, to them it is sin.
Yeah, maybe in that sense. It feels like a personal violation.
Sure, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, your conscience.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, that thing.
That thing.
It plays a role in work.
Yeah, so it's just yeah, it's a little frustrating, a little difficult. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It'll be a good project because it's a big project. And by that I mean I don't know what I mean. I don't know why that's good. It'll be good to see how it actually pans out. I guess of like, all right, I am going to have to make a lot of like difficult decisions and prioritize some of those and execute on them without taking a lot of time to do it.
Ooh, exciting.
Because the other thing
You
that
gonna film this whole thing?
no,
Time lapse this thing, baby.
don't have time for setting up cameras, all that stuff.
Maybe I'll just find. I wonder if Hope still has like one of those time lapse. It'd be great if you just set one up on a huge pole somewhere.
I don't know. People aren't super thrilled about time lapse footage.
Oh,
It's like time lapse and drone shots. No one really cares.
dang it.
Like it's usually cool to the person filming it,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the thing is because it's so people think it's so unique or so.
But it's not.
Yeah, I mean it has to serve a purpose in the larger story,
Gotcha.
right? And really every shot in a film does. But for some reason, I think with like often with drone footage, because drones are technology and they're cool and it's kind of like a hot thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people throw drone shots and stuff, but it doesn't actually serve the. It doesn't like give
Yeah,
context,
yes.
show the passing of time, right? Like
It's
those are all
so
things
good.
that a shot needs to show in a video. And so,
All it's doing is showing people, look, I have a drone that has a camera on it.
right. And I'm guilty of this. Like on my YouTube channel, I have I resited a garage and I have a time lapse of that project. Only one side of the garage, but it was actually
It was the side he wasn't working on, so it was a very boring time lapse.
very boring. But it was actually really interesting because I realized that like it just no one cares, which is fine. But one of the things that was helpful actually to shoot that was to realize like movement efficiency, because when you watch something at standard time, you sort of see it unfold as you experienced it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you speed it up, you actually realize because I had my material pile over there and I was walking an extra 30 feet. Because in your mind, when you're placing your materials, you're like, it's just easier to set it here, so I'm going to. But when you think about every time you have to walk back and forth for a piece of siding, it's like, oh, over the course of a project, that is a horrible inefficiency.
It took up like a day of time.
Yeah. Or just a very large amount. And so you start to realize little things like that. Like, oh, when you see it in time lapse or in a high speed, you think through, oh, how could I set up the job site so things are like how could I better set it up? So that was kind of just an interesting personal lesson to learn from that time lapse footage. But
I think those are the tangible, like the small tangible actions that lead to, in many ways, the intangible difference between a professional and an amateur. Like that's one of them right there.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about, I heard this somewhere. Oh, in learning about coaching, reading this book, he talks about how in a marriage and in a relationship, it is the small tangible actions that lead, grouped together, make a collective intangible feeling of like love in a relationship. Like when people say, oh, I just don't feel like we have very much love between us, it's because they've stopped doing these tangible little things like kissing them goodbye on the way out, or
filling their car up with gas.
Little things that they always started doing at the beginning of the relationship.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that it's actually those little things that lead to the collective feeling. And I think that's the same for creative work, where someone who's done the work such a long time, over time, whether consciously or not, has subconsciously probably made a lot of those little adjustments to like,
right.
I put my work here, I do this, I put my materials here, I like, this is the way to trim, this is the way to like, I don't know, measure everything. And so then, and it's like, it's all these tangible little things that add up to make them like, whoa, how come you can do it so much faster and better quality than an amateur? Oh, totally. Well, little things.
Like I watched
greatness is in the details, as they would say.
Yeah. I watched a 3-man crew resub my grandpa's 3-car garage in like 6.5 hours. It was nuts.
That's pretty impressive.
They tore everything off and replaced everything, all the new stuff.
Wow.
So that was like getting rid of the old stuff and installing the new stuff. And it was kind of nuts to hear, because I got to see part of it. I was only there for a little bit, but it was also cool to hear both my grandpa and my brother talk about that. And then my brother and I, we go and reset a garage, and it takes like 4 weekends or something.
Oh yeah.
And like, but I mean, part of that was we were also replacing a door, a window, a garage door. We also had to replace some of the sheathing below that had rotted. We had to do a lot of like waterproofing and flashing. And then we were also doing fascia, which is like roof trim and some other stuff. So it was a little more of an intensive project, but it was still just like the actual siding part.
You see that with roofing too, I think. When people think like, oh, I can do my own roof.
Yeah.
It's like, or you could have a crew come out and they can do it in a day. or 2 days, depending on how big your roof is.
Right, right. And they can just knock it out.
Yeah.
Because when you're set up to do that and only that,
You learn
you
how to
get
do
good
it
at
really
it.
efficiently and
Right.
be a better worker at it.
Yeah. And I realize that with carpentry, especially rough carpentry. Like there are so many.
What is rough carpentry?
Rough carpentry is like framing.
Okay.
So it's not like, it's usually not the finished work that you're going to see in the room. It's like all of the stuff behind the walls.
Gotcha.
All of the wood within the walls. Pure wood, floor, roof structure, all that type of stuff.
Definitions with Mike.
But yeah, there's so many little like production tips that you learn as far as how to make cuts, how to, you know, all that sort of stuff, and just how to like. There's so many things. It just blew my mind once I actually started doing it and getting fast at it. Yeah.
Speaking of fast, let's fastly go back to our daily 3.
Oh,
This
yeah.
has been a bunny trail INTP ADHD bunny, and we've caught it, and now we're back.
And now we're back to
Time
the daily
lapse
3.
and what you
So-
learned. Yeah.
Yeah, that my first one on the daily 3 is to basically get that figured out, get my materials order, and set that up.
Nice.
The thing I'm learning about this work is the bank expects you to start within 5 days.
Hey, this is in some ways is great
Yeah,
to learn about.
but it's super good to learn. But it's just like these are not the types of people I want to work for, and I'm realizing that because
I feel like that's your whole business that you're buying, though.
yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is, and I'm just like, oh. But I mean, as far as like so people right now, and part of this is probably the economy, and part of it is also probably just a supply and demand, right? So there's high demand, low supply of like construction companies, contractors, like everyone I used to work with who is carpenter, plumber, electrician, they're like all booked 4 to 7 months out.
Wow.
So if you're like, hey, could I get a 3-season porch? Like that, we met a couple of people the other day at
The unofficial,
restaurant.
yeah.
Yeah, and we ended up chatting with them about like, because the one lady was looking for a retaining wall and the other chimney repair, and she's like, yeah, I talked to it, and they're like, they can't do it until like November, and I'm like, yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
You know, so when someone's like, hey, can you do this job? It's like, well, yeah. How does January or February of next year sound? Right? Because like everyone is super busy and they're all working a lot too. It's not like they're just doing 40-hour weeks. It's like they're
doing 60, 80-hour weeks.
Yeah, pulling 60s and 70s to try to keep up, and it's just nuts. And so it's like we expect you to start in 5 days or you don't get the job. It's like that's really unrealistic, and I don't know how you can find anyone to do the work.
Do they expect you to get done in 5 days, or
No, they expect you to start within 5 days.
Well, that's easy. Just say you started.
Yeah, and then take 3 months to do it. But then they know, right? They're like, oh, a drywall job shouldn't take 3 months to do.
Sure.
Whatever. So it is kind of frustrating in that now there are other projects that I had scheduled and was going to work on that I now have to move around in order to accommodate this one.
My mind, see, this is like how my mind works when you just said that.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, oh, they expect you to start in 5 days. And I'm like, and I immediately just start to find like, what's the loophole there? Like my lawyer brain, I'm not a lawyer at all, but like, I feel like maybe my shifty brain or
Yeah.
was just like, oh, so you can go over and like look in the basement and you've started. Great. Like, but they don't mean that. They mean like actually start working.
Yeah.
Which is another conscience thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But so that's interesting. It's just this weird kind of, it's interesting to think about as someone who does work, right? Of like, what kind of customers do you want and what kind of clients do you actually want to do work for?
Yeah.
And I've heard people talk about this, right? I've heard like freelancers especially talk about like, yeah, sometimes you just need to fire your clients.
Oh, absolutely.
Oftentimes you think about firing your employees, but actually firing the people you work for, just recognizing this is the type of work I do. This is the way I do. These aren't the expectations you have. This just isn't a good relationship. So I'm going to finish what I promised you. And then after that, we're done.
One of the best books I know about this is called Booked Solid.
Really?
Yeah. Booked Solid. It's a great book. He walks you through exactly thinking through how to find the type of people that you want to work for, or the people that you want, like the clients that you want. And he has like this red velvet kind of line policy where he talks about like, if your business is like a elite club and you just have like one of those like red velvet clicks, he's just like, who are the people that you want in? He's like, because you get to decide ultimately.
Yeah.
So many people think like, oh, we just have to accept anyone because that's the nature of business, and you don't.
Certainly. And we have to always just like sometimes there's this fear of if I turn anyone away, I'm not taking on work. And the truth is yes.
Sometimes.
But the other thing that we've talked about is like saying no to something is a saying yes to something else.
Yes.
And thinking of your no is also another yes.
You have to, yeah. And then, yeah, you have to think of it that way.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, did you, this is when you do estimates for people.
Yeah.
Do you take that 8 hours that you spent doing the estimate and put it into the cost of the project?
Yeah.
I was like, I figured
because that is an overhead cost.
I realized now people probably do that when I was thinking like when all trees fall down and people go around just giving free estimates for like tree removal.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized, oh, they're probably putting that. I'm like, wow, free estimates. How nice.
Yeah.
No, I realized, oh, we're probably paying for that. And
yeah. And it's a small part of overhead, right? Like if you have all of your overhead, if you figure out like the way I've seen it done before is.
Oh, that makes sense. It's a nice service though to the customer.
Yeah. But you figure out your annual overhead and then you divide that by the number of working days. And essentially you recognize that as like, that's your daily overhead. So then if the job is going to take 30 days to do, then you have 30 days of overhead that you have to account for in that project.
Gotcha.
To get paid for. So I've seen it done that way.
Okay. I don't know what overhead means, but.
Overhead is sort of the like.
Or at least I don't know what it means in construction.
Yeah, big picture costs of running your business.
Just like planning, administrative.
Yeah, yep. So if you have office people, if you have a website, if your insurance costs, right?
Is that like ordering supplies too and stuff like that, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of all of those like things that have to happen. Kind of the work that you have to do in order to do the work.
Before you pick up a saw or hammer.
Yeah.
To start.
Yep. All of the admin, logistics, project management type stuff. So anyway. Back to the daily 3. My second one on the daily 3 is a planning video. So prep it and research for one video and come up with a plan.
Yes.
So I'm trying to be a little more specific, and specifically I want to do a drywalling video because that's my next part in the basement process. And it's like, oh, how convenient. I also have a massive drywall job to do on top of it. So, and then the third thing I'm going to do is hang drywall under the stairs today.
Nice.
So today is a drywall day.
Gonna get dusty, folks.
It's gonna get real dusty.
I love it. All right, drywall day.
Drywall day, not to be confused with a wet wall day.
Yep.
Because nobody wants wet walls.
Nobody wants. Nope. It's just weird. If your walls are wet, you have a big issues. You need to check first if there's a roof over your head. All right. Well, cool.
How about for you? What are your daily 3 for today?
Daily 3 for today. There's a coaching appointment I had, but he had to reschedule. Mm-hmm. So that is off the table, but I am, one is, most important, or I don't know if it's most important, but no, it is
prioritization happening here. Maybe.
Nope. There's not going to be any prioritization here. I reject that. One of them is to work on the typography for the website, get that done. The second one is to work on the gospel commentary. And the third one, and specifically John 1:1-5.
Yeah. Nice. Way to be specific.
Yeah. And work, and then the third one is to get back in touch with just a financial or prayer partner. Just someone who I just recently had that donation or the fundraising meeting with. And
kind of a follow-up.
Yeah. Just a follow-up to see, hey, you and your wife, you prayed about it. Do you want to partner with Grace Lead? Do you want to, financially partner? Do you want to prayerfully, however the Lord has led them, it would be, that's the main thing I actually want with people and I don't know how to make this clear without coming, like, I really don't care. All I want people to do is follow the Lord. Mm-hmm. And that might sound naive, but honestly, like I just want people to like go. It's more important to me that they actually go to the Lord and ask him, like, hey, do you want us to support and partner with Grace Lead?
Yeah.
And then listen and with whatever he says, or as they, and that can, there's lots of different ways that can happen, right? Of how God speaks to us, obviously through his word, but even just as they like use wisdom with their finances but just like to go before the Lord, present it before him and listen, because to see if he will give, an answer regarding it. And oftentimes he doesn't. It just says, he just says, use your wisdom. Or that's what he says to us through the scriptures is what would be wise now. And then I want them to follow him. Mm-hmm. And like that to me brings more joy. I would much rather have that, like that and 1,000 no's than tons of money and people saying no to the Lord and doing what they want.
Sure.
Does that I don't know, but I don't know if I hope people are doing that when I present to them.
Yeah.
And I don't know a way to encourage them to do that too.
Yeah, or how to communicate that necessarily.
Yeah.
That's what you're
like. That's what I care more about that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, that's a lot more important if they can. Just because I think I've experienced it, just the intimacy you can have, bringing your cares and concerns and life decisions before the Lord, and in that place, you find out how much he cares about you and how much he loves you and how much he is there to meet your needs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So I need to follow up with him today. But so if you ever decide to partner with Grace Lead, or don't decide, however, know that that's what I mostly desire for you.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah. So just money.
Yeah. Money's just a tool.
Yeah, money is a tool. And I'm excited about, I am developing where I'm having people also sign up for like a day of the month to pray.
Yeah.
And so I'm slowly working on getting every day filled up. One of my goals is to eventually have like that. I don't know. My ultimate, I don't know what my ultimate goal would be, but just to like have every day be covered by multiple people, like in prayer, is one of my goals for Grace Lead.
That's a neat idea. Because
if the Lord does not build it, I'm laboring in vain.
Yeah.
And we are dependent upon him. Apart from Christ, I can do nothing. We can do nothing. And I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
So I think I do. Yeah. I think I really believe that.
Good.
So that's my daily 3.
The daily 3.
The daily 3.
Any final thoughts or comments for this day before we go kick it in the teeth and make it happen?
The Lord wills.
The Lord wills.
Kick it in the teeth and make it happen.
This has been another episode of The Daily 3. Write it down.
Make
kick it in the teeth.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Lord willing.
Then go take a nap.
That's awesome.
Kick it in the teeth.
It's some terrible thing.
It probably is.
I don't know what that's from.
I don't know. I don't know why the teeth. You could kick it in the shins too. But
you could very well kick it in there.
Gotta make sure the dentist stays in business, so I won't take out the teeth. If the day had teeth, knock them out.
If the day had teeth. Stop that, puppy. Nope.
Stop that, puppy, woof woof. Somebody stop that, puppy. Stop that, puppy. My goal is to shake the table for the entire episode. So it slowly looks like we're recording in an earthquake. Tiny diapers.
What?
Tiny diapers.
I don't know what that means, and I will not respond. Ooh, you know what I just did? I'm a genius.
It's true, you are.
Thank you. I've created the Daily 3 as a project. And every time I'm working on a new episode, I'm now recording that time to see, so then I can see how long each episode took. Do you want to batch edit tomorrow? Or Saturday? Or Sunday? Or Monday? Or Tuesday?
It's 22, yeah, because yesterday...
I realized we swore in the one day, twice.
Did we?
You said damn rocks, and I said half-assed.
Which one was that? Yesterday's?
Today's.
Oh, the one that actually got published?
Yeah. But I was like, it seems kind of harmless enough, so yeah.
It could have been worse.
Intentional swear was more like, oh, damn rocks. Yeah, you were like kind of quoting someone and
half-assed is, how else would you say that? Half butt? Don't want none of that half butt.
Half baked.
Yeah, more than half baked. Had about a 27 minute.
Yep.
On that one. On that one.